Shabbat Shalom. This week's Torah portion teaches us about the building of the Mishkan, of the tabernacle, the temple in the desert, and later on the inside, the things that were used to put inside, like the ark and so on, were later put into the temple in Jerusalem. Now, one particular thing that I would like to talk about today is the ark itself. What went inside the ark? It says that they put inside the ark, God tells us, to put the tablets. Now, we know there were two sets of tablets. The first set of tablets, which Moses brings down from the mountain, and then he shatters it when he sees the Jews make the golden calf. And then he comes down the second time from the mountain with a second set of tablets. So both of these sets, the broken set and the complete set, both are put inside. Now, what do these two sets represent? So the first set of tablets, we have to remember what state of the Jews when he comes down before he breaks it. At that point, in other words, when God gives us the Ten Commandments, the Jews were in a position or a state of mind of a perfect Jew, right? They just came out of Egypt. They received the Ten Commandments of God from Mount Sinai. They are perfect. But then they sinned. So before Moses breaks the tablets, that represents the Jews in a state of completion, of a perfect, tzaddik, righteous Jew. The second set of tablets represent the Jew who returned. They made a mistake. They apologized to God. They said, I'm sorry. God forgives the Jewish people and then gives them a second set of tablets to represent their change of heart, their mistake that they made with the golden calf. And now God says, I forgive you, second chance, and a second set of tablets. So that's what the second set represents. So the first set represents their state of perfection. Second set represents the state of being a changed person. But then there's something else. There's a state of limbo. When somebody does something wrong, before you know what to do with yourself, like, oh my gosh, what just happened to me? I did something. We don't even know sometimes how to fix that mistake, how to come out of that position, how to become a new person. Before we even know to say I'm sorry or how to say I'm sorry, or will I be forgiven for the sin that I've done, right? That brokenness, that imperfection, what's that represent? And God says, I want that brokenness to stay with the Jewish people forever and ever. And that's why that broken tablets were put in there too. In other words, not only the imperfect or the perfect set of tablets, which obviously no longer here, but that brokenness also goes inside the tablets. Now, here's another interesting point about this ark. It says that the ark, in order to carry it, had to have poles, put inside on the side of the ark. So there were rings on the side of the arks and poles went inside it, but they've made it such a way that the poles can never be taken out. Why? Because what happens like this, anybody who learns and studies something very, very deep, any kind of subject, let alone something Jewish or the Torah, you could get very caught up in what you are studying, and you could be distracted and not pay attention to the world around you. And especially think about the ark itself. The ark was put in the Holy of Holies. Only once a year the high priest would go into the Holy of Holies, and you could literally get caught up in the holiness of spirituality and be distracted from the world around you. And Torah says, no. The ark has to always have poles in it. What's that for? So that if I tell you to travel, you have to travel. This is an unbelievable lesson in life, that even though you're so engrossed in Torah study, at any moment you have to be ready to move, ready to travel. And this reminds me of a beautiful story. The story is told of the first and second Chabad Rebbe's. They lived in a two-family house. And the story is told that the first Rebbe, the founder of the Chabad movement, which was known as Shnei Zalman of the Adi, the Alter Rebbe, he was living, and his son was a newlywed, and they had a baby in the house. And one night the baby was crying, and he goes downstairs to see what's going on. Why is the baby not being taken care of by his parents? And he sees that the baby was in a crib, these are teeny little apartments, one-bedroom apartments, and the baby was in the kitchen in the crib, while his son, this is late at night, is sitting and studying Torah at the table. So the grandfather comes and takes the baby out of the crib and soothes him back to sleep. And then he tells the son who's sitting studying Torah, he says, my dear son, it's really very special that you're busy studying Torah to the point they're not hearing your baby cry. But I want to teach you a lesson in life. You can learn Torah from today to tomorrow, but you have to always hear the cry of a baby. And this is the lesson of those poles inside the ark. As holy as we may be, As busy as we are, taking care of the world, studying Torah, learning whatever it should be, the cry of a baby, we have to always learn. We have to always hear. And this is, I think, a very important lesson in our lives. We, as a rabbi, as parents, as teachers, educators, we can never be silent to the cry of a baby. We have to always be ready to be on the move. Shabbat Shalom.